So here we're going to talk about the slope of a line, which is just the same thing as measuring the steepness, in some kind of situations. So the application is definitely for slopes, is, where engineers, carpenters, they, if you look at the top of your building, for example, how steep it is. So this is actually the slope. When you are driving on the road, or you're taking a bus and then you're on the road, the steepness of the road, that's what we call also the slope. So we don't want a road to be too steep. If not, you're never going to reach your destination. So we want it to definitely, be normal, so we can just go smoothly. As we're going over also the mountain, for example. So you have to be very careful, and that's why engineers need to know their job so that they, we have better roads. Okay. All right. But in any case, so in our situations here. So when we look at this first graphic here, so the slope is the line that we have, in this way, steep like that. And then we have the rise, which is also on the horizontal line, which we usually call X. And then the vertical line, which is the Y, that's what we also call the run. So we have the rise and then we have the run. Okay, so that's the same thing as the horizontal line X and then the vertical line Y. So that's just the same words here. Now, y equals to mx plus b that we have here is actually the equation of a straight line. So y equals to mx plus b. So m stands for what? M stands for the slope, and then b stands for the y-intercept. And then the y-intercept is where the line and the y-axis cross each other at this point here. So that's the coordinate of the point. So that's 0b. So these 0 and b are called coordinates. Okay. So that's the equation of a line there that we have. Now, what is the formula of a slope here? We have a formula here. So that's the same thing as the change of y over the change of x. Okay? So that's the same thing as a run over rise. So which is y1 minus y2. So these are the coordinates between 2 points over x1 minus x2, or y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So basically, you can use each one of these formulas to be able to get to the same answer. All right, so you don't use both. You don't need to use both. You can use both just to check your answer to see if you're doing it right, but you only have one to be used. Okay, so now let's take the question here and see. Find the slope of a line passing through these 2 points here. So if you call these 2 points A and B, and then we have 1, -4 for the coordinate, -2 and -3 for the coordinate. Okay, so coordinate, let me just put it here. Okay, so these are called the coordinates, the numbers that we have inside the parentheses. So if we name this one x1, y1, x2, y2, as you guys can see, for the first one, we keep the 1, 1. And then for the second one, we have 2, 2. Okay? We don't mix them up like that. Okay? So we need some order. So now let's go ahead and then see. So we have m then equals to. So we're going to go ahead and then use any of these two. So let's say we're using the first one. So y1. What is y1? y1 is -4. Minus, what is y2? y2 minus 3. Okay? Over x1, which is 1, positive, minus then x2, which is -2. All right, so this is what we have so far. Now, so that means what? So we're going to do the operation on the top and the bottom. So as you guys can see, we have the y on the top, we have the x at the bottom. So now we have -4. Okay, so negative and negative will give us what? +3. And then we have 1 here. And then negative and negative will give us what? +2. Okay? So we have -4 plus 3 over 1 plus 2. So the sign, because negative and negative there, because there's multiplication between the two of them. So it's like -1 times -3, we get +3. And then -1 times -2, we get +2. All right? So now we can combine the two of them here. So -4 plus 3. So -4 plus 3, we said what? We subtract and we keep the sign of the highest number. So we subtract 3 from 4, that will give us what? 1. And then what's the sign of the highest number? Negative. So we end up with negative 1 over 1 plus 2 is what? Is going to give us 3. Okay? So we have m, which is negative 1 over 3. So that's the run over the rise. Okay? So that's the slope that we have. So that's the steepness that we're talking about as a fraction. And most of the time, the slope is represented into a fraction. Even if you have a whole number, that means you have an invisible 1 at the bottom of it.